cops still en route to her residence.
Northbound 148.
They're among the first responders who rush forward when others run away.
Keep working hard, keep reaching out to people and talking.
The guardians who stand watch while we sleep. The protectors of the defenseless who are willing to put strangers ahead of self.
The Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Who willingly raise a hand, take an oath, and report for duty, never knowing if this will be their last day.
Indianapolis, I'm 1023.
They are the men and women of law enforcement. On average, every year, 150 of them lose their lives in the line of duty, leaving behind 150 families who must somehow find the strength to carry on. And in that moment, into that gap, steps Indiana Cops, Concerns of Police Survivors, a volunteer organization which no one wants to join, but where members devote their lives and hearts to those who have lost so much. When the pain of loss is at its greatest, when the confusion and anger seems overwhelming, when the future appears dark without a way forward, Indiana Cops is there to hug, to hold, to listen, to gently guide, to support, to provide answers, to let survivors know there is a tomorrow and a tomorrow after that there are others who have been there, have felt that hurt, and they understand that their loved one's sacrifice was not in vain. We are Indiana Cops, Concerns of Police Survivors, and we are the living embodiment of the courage and commitment and the dedication to duty of the brave men and women who proudly served and gave their all to secure the land and the state we call home.
In 1997, I lost my husband, Andrew. I was 24 and I had a 1-month-old baby. I was avoiding that Andrew had died. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to call myself a widow until a friend of mine, Emily Beal, had lost her husband, Jason, and she started with this organization called COPS, and COPS was helping her through this process, and I didn't know exactly why, but she seemed to be lots healthier and lots further along in her grief process than I was. I jumped in, just kind of stood in the background, and then I decided that I wanted to jump in full force because I wanted to start helping other people in their grief process. So now I get to work with the families. When we lose somebody in the line of duty, the critical incident team jumps in and they invite the Indiana Cops to come and be part of that. In that process, we get to work with the families and kind of help them through some of the decisions that they have to make, let them know that there is a normal, let them know that they have a family that they just became part of that they didn't want any part of at all.
I am Jacob Pickett's sister. Back on March 2nd, he was hurt in the line of duty, and he ended up passing away on March 5th, 2018. So that morning, I was taking my daughter to daycare and I spilled a Sprite in my lap and I thought I was having the worst day ever. But then I was taken into the director at my clinic's office, and the officer told me 3 little words, and all she said was, "Jake's been shot." And I just went absolutely numb. I didn't know what to think. It was definitely one of the last things that I was thinking happened. I felt like my whole life was just turned upside down because he was my biggest supporter of me going back to school. He was a great uncle to my daughter. And so that meant I then had to explain to my 5-year-old what death was. We had many talks about the bad guy and stuff like that, and it was just a very tough process.
My cousin was the Terre Haute police officer that was killed in the line of duty on May 4th, 2018, Rob Pitts. And so upon his line of duty death, we came into contact with Indiana Cops. And so they were an integral part in helping the family cope, providing resources to the family, a little bit of expectations about what the process is like, the grieving process, connecting us with other family members of fallen officers, deputies, troopers, etc. And they were very integral in the coping and the healing process with the family.
And I will introduce myself as the friend they never wanted, but it does turn into that. I turn into their friend. I turn into their phone call when they're having a hard time. It's a roller coaster, and sometimes you're having a really good day, and sometimes you just can't imagine going on through the day. And I think our organization is very good at that, just knowing that there is somebody just a phone call away. There's somebody that knows what you're talking about. They're not going to call you crazy. They're not going to judge you in any way, because emotions, like I said, are like a roller coaster. You have good days, you have really bad days, and you don't know when they're going to happen. And it could be 1 year, it could be 20, 21 years. Some days I have some really bad days, and I have people I get to talk to.
Before we even knew who they were, what they did, they were in the background. I would say trying to help us find our new normal. Planning things, coordinating, and then someone told me at the showing, welcome to the family that no one wants to be a part of. And it's true. We have grown like a family, and everyone's there for each other, and we support each other. And they still are there for us every step of the way.
We're very thankful to have come into contact with this organization, because quite honestly, when you experience a line of duty death, it's such a shock that we didn't know up from down, and so they helped us navigate through the darkness. So without experiencing this myself, I had no clue that they existed, but we're very thankful for them.
I've been a member of the Indiana Cops board for the last several years. I was a classmate of Andrew Winsenreed, who was killed in line of duty on April 25th, 1997. And upon his death, I got to know his wife, Cindy, very well. And so I had seen the value of the organization and realized that they were an organization that I felt was certainly worthwhile and is doing some very good work for the families. But particularly also for the officers that continue on to do the very hard work for the citizens of the state. And I felt like if I had an opportunity to give back to the community, this would be a great vehicle to do so. I considered it a great honor and privilege to help serve those who have been affected in such a horrific manner, to provide the support and services that they can use to rebuild their lives and to try to continue to move forward. The organization is able to bring together other people and provide the necessary support and encouragement as they transition into the new chapter of their lives, their new normal.
Emotionally, we're still going through the grieving process and trying to figure out where to go from here, I guess is a good way of putting it. And if I'm having a bad day, I know that I have so many resources that I can just reach out to, and they understand what I'm going through, and they get it. Being able to talk to someone that's been through a similar situation and the same grieving process, and just knowing what it's like to go through this has been absolutely amazing.
I don't know how we would have navigated the situation without them. But it was when Cindy had tapped me on the shoulder and said, I want to introduce you to a couple other people, and it was the Pickett family who had just been through this 2 months prior. I was shocked. Just that level of support, of being able to, it hasn't been a year or two, and even then it's still very challenging and difficult, but 2 months, and here they are to give us hugs and to say, we're here for you. We know what this is like. So anybody that has to unfortunately go through becoming a fallen officer family, a survivor family, embrace cops. They're here for you. They'll help you with anything that you need, emotional support, direction in the darkness. It's just a really phenomenal group of people.
The process of cops, being part of that and going in and helping the families during their funeral, it helps me. It helps me to have a focus on giving back, being able to understand the grief process myself. It's amazing that they open their arms to me and let me in because I don't know this person. I've never met this person before, but we automatically have this connection.
It's not just, here's a list of people that also have experienced a fallen officer. It's a very active group where you can get together for some fellowship and be around people who also have been through what you've been through. COPS provides events to organize the survivors to get together, provide a lot of fellowship. Another thing that COPS has helped do is prepare us for the trip to Washington, D.C. next year, where Rob will be honored nationally.
It's an organization that no one ever wanted membership to, but they are certainly glad that that membership is available to them and support them in their time of need.
The COPS organization was there for us all the way. We know that COPS will be there for the rest of our lives to support us and to help us through.
Indiana COPS is a foundation that rebuilds shattered lives, and I can't stress that enough.